The Russian Armata and American Abrams are two of the world's most advanced and deadliest main battle tanks. Which one of them is better and why? And even though some things about these tanks, such as armor composition, are kept in high secrecy, we know a lot about these machines. History. The current M1A2 Abrams is a significantly upgraded Cold War-era development. Its predecessor, the original M1 Abrams, was adopted by the U.S. Army back in 1980. The tank was named in honor of General Abrams, commander of U.S. forces during the Vietnam War. It replaced in service the M60 patent. Eventually, it proved to be a successful design and was produced in large numbers. Throughout the years, this tank was constantly improved, upgunned, and up-armored. The M1A2 SEP-V2 is the current version, which forms the backbone of the U.S. military armored forces. A number of older Abrams tanks were converted to this standard. It is planned that upgraded M1A2 series tanks will remain operational with the U.S. military beyond 2050. The Russian T-14 Armata is a more modern design. During the recent military conflicts, Russians faced that their T-90 main battle tank could not maintain superiority over the modern Western and Asian main battle tanks. A replacement was needed. Development of the new tank began in 2011 and was kept in high secrecy. The first batch of pre-production tanks was delivered in 2015. The Armata was first publicly revealed during the same year. Its full-scale production could begin in 2020 to 2021. It is planned that once in service, the Armata will gradually replace the aging Russian T-72, T-80, and T-90 tanks that become outdated. Concept behind these tanks. During the last century, there were always significant differences between Russian and Western tanks, their layout, and the way their systems operated. The Abrams follows the lines of Cold War-era Western main battle tanks. It uses composite armor, similar to the British Chobham. Frontal armor is reinforced with depleted uranium armor mesh for a higher level of protection. Furthermore, the Abrams can be fitted with add-on explosive reactive armor. Most of the ammunition is stored in the turret bustle with blowout panels. The tank is rather bulky. However, it is well protected against most anti-tank weapons. The M1A2 is armed with a manually loaded 120mm smoothbore gun. The tank has a modern fire control system with a high first-round hit probability. The Abrams is operated by a crew of 4, including commander, gunner, and driver. A unique feature of the Abrams tank is its gas turbine engine. It is a multi-fuel engine, which can run on any grade of petrol, diesel, aviation fuel, or kerosene. The engine has impressive performance and is running silent. However, it is troublesome to maintain and has a very high fuel consumption compared with traditional diesel engines. So basically, the United States went for a technologically advanced, bulky, yet very agile tank. On the other hand, the Armata is a new generation tank. It is a clean sheet design with a number of advanced features. It has little in common with the current T-90 and other older Soviet tanks. Actually, it is the first Russian truly new production tank since the T-72, which was adopted back in 1973. The design of the Armata focuses on heavier armor and crew survivability. The exact technical specifications of the new Armata remain classified. The Armata has an unmanned turret and is operated by a crew of 3. It is in line with the Russian tank building concept, that the tank should be operated by a smaller crew in order to reduce its dimensions and weight and improve protection. However, this new tank has a new layout. All crew members are seated at the front of the hull in a well-protected armored capsule. The gun is loaded automatically and ammunition is separated from the crew compartment. The design of the Armata focuses on heavy armor and crew survivability. armor protection. The Abrams is one of the most protected tanks in the world. It uses composite armor, reinforced with depleted uranium armor mesh. Also, it can mount add-on explosive reactive armor. The tank is well protected against most known anti-tank weapons. The U.S. Army aims to put a cutting-edge defensive technology called Active Protection System on its Abrams tanks. It is designed to destroy approaching anti-tank rockets and anti-tank guided missiles. This technology increases the overall survivability of the tank. So far, the Abrams tanks were not fielded in combat with such a protection system. Also, the Abrams tanks are fitted with a countermeasure system, which interrupts infrared and laser guidance of anti-tank missiles. The Russian Armata uses newly developed base armor made of steel, ceramics, and composite materials. Also, the Armata has a new Malachite add-on explosive reactive armor that is claimed to be of a new generation. The protection level of the Armata tank remains classified. It might be one of the most protected tanks in the world. It has been reported that the Russian Armata will be fitted with a new Afghan and active protection system. However, in 2018, it appeared that there are setbacks with the development of the Afghanet. By 2018, prototypes of this system were not completed and were not ready for testing. This tank also has a new countermeasures system that reduces the chance of being hit by anti-tank guided missiles. Overall, in terms of protection, none of these two tanks has an advantage over the other. Crew survivability. The crew of the Abrams is well protected and has some chances of surviving once the armor is penetrated. Most of the ammunition is stored in a turret bustle with blowout panels. The bustle is separated from the fighting compartment. If the bustle is hit, ammunition detonates without killing the crew. Some rounds are stored inside the hull in protective containers. The interior of the Abrams is lined with Kevlar liner for protection against spalling. The Russian Armata tank was also built with crew survivability in mind. All of its crew members are seated in a well-protected armored cell. It is the world's first production tank with a completely unmanned turret and with such a crew layout. The crew is completely separated from the automatic loader and ammunition. The tank has improved resistance to damage. It can operate even with penetrated armor, as far as the crew cell is intact. Overall, the Russian Armata might be slightly superior in terms of crew survivability due to its protected crew cell and entirely isolated ammunition. Gun. The Abrams is armed with a 120mm/L44 smoothbore gun. Even though it is not the most advanced tank gun available on the market today, it packs a formidable punch. It is accurate and has a range of effective fire in excess of 4 kilometers. Its effective range was successfully demonstrated during numerous military conflicts throughout the world. The gun is loaded manually by the gunner. The M182 Abrams was one of the first tanks with a hunter-killer engagement capability. The tank commander uses a panoramic sight to search for targets. Once the target is selected, the gun is laid on the target automatically and the gunner completes all the aiming and firing processes. During that time, commander looks for the next target. Such an engagement method allows to acquire and engage targets faster. Currently, similar target acquisition systems are present on most main battle tanks. The Russian Armata is armed with a new 125mm smoothbore gun. It has a longer range and is more accurate than previous Russian tank guns. The new tank gun is superior to that of the T-90 tank. It has more muzzle energy than the gun of the Abrams. However, at longer ranges, the Russian tank guns were traditionally not as accurate as Western tank guns. In order to cope with this drawback, the Armata can launch long-range anti-tank guided missiles in the same manner as ordinary projectiles. This missile has a range of up to 5 kilometers and can also target low-flying helicopters. The gun is completed with an autoloader. This feature allowed to reduce the crew to 3 men. The Armata is fitted with a brand new fire control system. So far, it is unclear how accurate is the gun of the Russian Armata is in order to compare it with the Abrams. Mobility. The American Abrams tanks are powered by a gas turbine engine, developing 1,500 horsepower. Basically, it is a modified helicopter engine, adapted for use on tanks. It is compact for its power output. So even though the Abrams is heavy and bulky, this tank is surprisingly nimble due to its powerful engine. It is much faster than many other tanks and has superior cross-country performance. Furthermore, its gas turbine unit has more advantages over traditional diesel engines, typically used on tanks. It is a multi-fuel engine, which can run on kerosene, diesel, petrol, or aviation fuel. It can start at extremely cold temperatures. Also, the engine is remarkably quiet. Due to this feature, the Abrams have even been nicknamed the Whispering Death. The gas turbine engine has servicing intervals significantly longer than those of diesel engines. However, the gas turbine engine has a number of drawbacks. Notably, it is troublesome to maintain and has a very high fuel consumption compared with diesel. The Russian Armata is powered by a new turbocharged diesel engine, developing 200 HP. It is a new generation engine that is much more compact and powerful than previous Russian tank engines. This engine is not yet proven and might have a number of teething problems. However, this Russian diesel is way more fuel efficient and easier to maintain than the American gas turbine. The Abrams accelerates faster than the Armata and has superior cross-country performance. However, overall, in terms of engine power and mobility, both tanks have their own strengths and weaknesses. Overall, the new Russian tank is on par with the US Abrams tank. In some areas, it is slightly superior to the Abrams. However, it has got no cutting-edge superiority. The Abrams have technical superiority in mobility and cross-country performance. This tank is a proven design that recommended itself well during numerous military conflicts. The Armata has the advantage of survivability and crew protection, though this tank is still a raw design that will likely to have numerous teething problems.